Hey, welcome back to the Reseller Stories podcast. This week, I have a friend of mine, Jacob. I know him personally. He's not necessarily a reseller, but he does have a little bit of reselling experience or buying experience. He bought something the other day that was turned out to be a very good buy for him. So, welcome to the show, Jacob. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me, Daniel.
Good. So I haven't seen you in forever. You're actually a friend of my son's, and y'all used to fish and hunt and hang out all the time. But I guess you left where he worked and kind of went your separate ways there for a little bit, and kind of come back together and started hanging out again here recently, right?
Oh yeah, we used to just raise hell left and right, but I had to go off. I had to finish up some things I had to do at college, and recently I realized that wasn't fair to him or our friendship. So we started hanging out again, started going hunting, and started revitalizing our friendship. It's been great.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's always a fun time when you're around. You're pretty a funny fella.
I don't like the way you could possibly mean that.
But so you're in school now?
Yes, sir. I am currently a senior at the University of, this will not be stated online,
Right.
as an electrical engineering student.
Oh, awesome. Pretty good school. So you're a senior
Really,
this year.
really great test scores at that unknown source.
Yeah. Just breezed on through it. So what have you been doing? I mean, just school and work has been taking most of your time. And
Oh, school, that's just a little bit of what I do. I've been, hanging out with your son, as you're saying, cruising through Facebook Marketplace, like think most people are, which is where my story comes in today,
yeah.
and just, just navigating this world we have now.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's fun times to try to navigate it too right now, but that's another podcast.
Another story, another day. I understand.
Yeah. What So you said your story comes from Facebook Marketplace, and I have been selling on Facebook Marketplace a lot, and I mean, not necessarily the local stuff, the marketplace, I guess, where you probably found your stuff, but man, it seemed like I could put some stuff on Facebook, and before I had the next item on, something sold, and man, it has dried up for me. And I got off of Facebook for a while, and that was the only reason I got back on. And if I can't sell anything on the marketplace, I don't know how much longer I'm going to stay on Facebook with all the crap that goes on with that. But you know how that is. But
I understand.
would you like to go ahead and tell about your story, about your selling experience, and if you think you would do a little bit more selling now that you see how fruitful it could be?
I definitely think so. I will tie that in at the end, of how I'm definitely looking for different avenues to possibly find some good deals. But yeah, basically my journey started. Mind you, I'm not a reseller. I know this is a reselling podcast. It's probably blasphemy to some of your listeners, but no, my story all started earlier this year, about February. I was looking for some hunting equipment, waders to be exact, for duck season. And with me being a college student, I'm not able to work full time. So my budget is limited. I'm looking for a good deal. And upon looking for a good deal, I happened to stumble upon an ad for 3 pairs of waders for $65. Now, any normal person would scroll on past and say, "Oh, that's just a scam. That's something's going to happen, or those are disgusting and worn down. They're not good."
It's
I have
one of
long
those
hair.
two.
I wear what's that?
I said it's one of those too good to be true posts.
Exactly, too good to be true. You'll end up on the first 48 or something like that. But as you can probably see, I'm not the most normal person. I have long hair. I wear a bunch of goofy bracelets and everything, and you know, I look like somebody that should be standing outside of a Whole Foods with like a petition saying like, "Hey man, let's end this war." But no, I went up and I was like, the worst that comes to worst is I can get a computer virus, and I've dealt with those before. They're a pain in the butt, but I can deal with them. So I messaged the gentleman. I'm like, "Hey, is it still available?" That was in February. Did not hear anything. I was cruising through Facebook Marketplace, but a month later, it just popped up in my head. I was like, let me see what happened with those. Scroll through my messages, I see that it's seen. Then I go back to the ad, and it says, please contact me at this phone number. And there wasn't enough digits. There was only 6 digits.
Oh goodness.
It was the area code and the first 3 digits, but none of the last 4. I was like, okay, that's a problem. So I message her, tell her, hey, really interested in these waiters. Not enough digits in the phone number. What can you do for me? Another month passes. Completely forget about it until I get a message at like 10:30 at night, which is also kind of sketchy. This is supposed to be actually a 60-something-year-old woman. I'm like, that should be, past your bedtime. You should have eaten dinner at 5 p.m. and been in bed for about the last 5 hours. But I digress. She messages me and says, hey, I'm so sorry. I'm not the best with Facebook Messenger. Can you please email me? I'm like, sure, absolutely. We can be pen pals or something. We can message back and forth. Well, I'm messaging her and she says, hey, these are not my waiters. They were my brother-in-law's. He passed away a few months back because of, I believe she said it was some sort of heart issue. I forget the exact reason, but God rest his soul. And she says, yes, the waiters are still available. You can come look at them at this address on this day. And then I see the spelling. I'm very particular. I see the spelling on the word waiters. She's spelling the word waiters like somebody who brings you your food. I'm like, oh, she doesn't know what she has.
Yeah.
She's actually selling something that's supposed to be very expensive at a cheap price. And it's probably because, the poor guy died. Anyways, I'm like, yeah, sure, I can absolutely go through there, and I'm so sorry about your loss. So finally comes to the day. I'm about to go out there, and then about right before I leave, I'm like, this is probably a situation where I can end up on the first 48. I come up on 60 Minutes, like, had you seen this goofy long-haired looking hippie guy? I don't want that to happen to me. So I asked my roommate, like, hey, can you come with me just in case I get kidnapped? And he looks at me so stubbornly and he's like, you're telling me you want me to possibly shoot someone? And I'm like, yeah, if it calls for it. He's like, well, hell, I'll go right with you. I was waiting for you to ask. So we get in the car. It takes about a 20-minute drive over there, and I get out there and I'm talking to her, and she's like telling me, oh yes, these waiters, I've been going through all these people, and you're just the sweetest person, and I figured they'd go to somebody who would really use them and was the right person for them. I'm like, oh yeah, totally. I'm yeah.
After a couple of messages.
At the end of the day, I'm just using a little bit of, like yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, and general courtesy. I'm not really, anyways, I'm not.
Yeah, I got
So
you.
we get over to this barn behind her house, and she pulls out the 3 pairs of waders, and 2 of them are a Game Winner brand, something you get at Academy or Cabela's, about $65 each. I was like, okay, that's not too bad. And then she pulls out the 3rd pair, and the 3rd pair is a nice Pro Series from Cabela, insulated pair of waders with like a chest compartment. I looked it up; they're about $260 pair of waders, brand new. And in the ad, she was only asking for $65. I was like, okay, I'm already getting a really good deal. And I had $80 on me, so I gave her $80. She's like, you don't have to give me all that money. It's fine. I'm like, no, it's okay. In my head, I'm like, you're getting screwed over. Like, please let me give you this extra $15.
Yeah. Make it feel a little bit better on your end.
Right. Then she's like, well, let me give you something a little extra because you gave me this extra money. Okay, if you want to give me something more than what you've given me, that's fine. She pulls out this big bag of, I believe it was about 30 duck decoys,
Oh, goodness.
which if you're into duck hunting, duck decoys are not cheap for just one of them a
Yeah.
piece.
Mm-hmm.
And then she pulls out this box of ammo. And mind you, this is back in May of this year when we're having a big ammo shortage. And maybe we
Mm-hmm.
are still now. I don't watch the news anymore. I don't know if we're still in that situation.
It's a
But she
little
pulls out,
bit easier to find.
it's a little bit easier to find. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's good. She pulls out this box of shotgun shells and 30-06 cartridges and everything.
Wow.
I mean, it had about 400 shells alone.
Goodness.
And it ranged everything from 2 3/4 to 3 1/4. I mean, you know, there was target load, duck load, turkey load,
Wow.
slug, high brass. I mean, every kind of shell that you could think of, there was in there, and they're all good, Winchester brand. I was like, "Are you sure you only want $85?" And she's like, "Oh, absolutely." And then finally, she's like, "Oh, wait, no, here, I've got some of his hunting boots," and she pulls them out, and she's like, "They're size 10 and a half. Would these fit you?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm a size 10 and a half." And then she kind of stops, and she's like, "I saw those waders were size 11. Are you sure these would fit you?" And it kind of hit my brain. This all happens within half a second. I'm thinking she's looking for like the right person for these waders,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to possibly miss out on this deal. So, as terrible as it sounds, I lie to her. I'm like, "Oh, yes, ma'am. Waders are only made in whole sizes. So you can either get a 10 or 11. There's no 10 and a half. You can just either squeeze your toes in or wear 2 pairs of socks."
Yeah. It's best to get them a little bit big anyway. So for that reason.
Exactly. Exactly. So, I, as terrible as it sounds, I pulled off the heist of the century on this poor lady. I think I made off with about $400 worth of
Yeah.
stuff.
You made off
Conservative
good.
estimate, but yeah, that's how that ended. And after then, I've been chasing that high ever since. I've been looking at estate sales, looking for if they have any hunting gear or ammunition or guns, and
Yeah.
that's pretty much how I got into this situation.
But you did, try to persuade her that, to take a little bit more, or are you sure? Do you want to sell all of this for 60 or 80? And
I,
I mean, so it's not like you really got over on her more than, you think, I guess, because you did try,
you're
So
absolutely
you,
right. I gave her 15 courtesy dollars, and I
yeah,
sleep well at night.
yeah. And yeah, those estate sales though. You're talking about going to those estate sales, man. Those you can find some good stuff there. It's just they usually know more what they have, so it's kind of hard to get those kind of deals at estate sales. We look
Right.
at them in Nashville all the time, and some of these guys that are in the music industry or something like that will be gun collectors, and they'll have their whole collection up there for sale. And I mean, some of the most beautiful guns you've ever seen in your life. But
Oh, I could imagine. And I bet you feel the same way as I do on this as being a reseller. Um, there's nothing worse than somebody who is selling something and they know what they have
yeah,
because
you're right about
they want to
that.
charge an appropriate price. And there's
Yeah,
nothing more annoying than that.
yeah. Yeah. We've tried to find Madonna a Christmas tree. It's a vintage aluminum Christmas trees, something they did back in the 50s and 60s, I guess. They still might make them now. I don't know. But Ladonna, she's the Christmas person in the family. And
Okay.
that's one of those things. Every time she sees one of those in a estate sale, she hightails it to that sale and tries to get it. But if you're not there day one, as soon as it opens, you're not going to find it. And they usually know what they have on stuff like that too. But
Oh, goodness.
we did finally get her one that a friend of ours gave us as a gift. That it was an absolute blessing that she gave it to us. But so yeah, people know what they have, and it's hard to catch deals. That's why, I mean, even a lot of resellers, they'll go to thrift stores and stuff, and it's getting to where these thrift stores, especially around here, that they jack their prices up. And the way I hear all over the country, really, they kind of sell stuff pretty expensive. Sometimes they know what they have, and they'll just price it where you can't hardly buy it, or they think they know what it is, and they price it for a ridiculous amount. But every once in a while you still find something. I guess that's more like treasure hunting when you go to thrift stores and stuff like that. But
Right. It's
you
gone.
should get into it, man. It's real fun. It's
You, you know,
yard. Go ahead.
believe it or not, I live with a guy, my roommate. He is a big reseller.
Oh, really?
And I think it would drive the other tenants nuts if there's two resellers in one building. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to wait for our living situation to figure itself out before
Mhm,
we have,
mhm,
two resellers in the same building.
mhm. These yard sales are starting to kick up pretty good. And that's where you can find some good stuff too. You just spend a day Saturday and just hit as many as you can. There's
Right.
going to be some good like community wide yard sales coming up. There's one at Highway 101 out toward Lawrence County. It's coming up this weekend. I'm going to have to miss because got to work, got to go back to work. And then there's another one in Tennessee that's coming up that we go to, and it's pretty good. So that's what's in our future.
Well, I hate that you're gonna be sick that day that happens, during
Yeah.
that yard sale.
Yeah. Yeah. But you never know. I might get sick for sure. But if I miss that one this weekend, I I did pretty good on the other one in Tennessee last year. So I'm looking forward to that one. And it's coming up. It should be here toward the end of October. I think it was cold. Yeah. So it was toward the end of October. So
I got you. So they
looking
do an
for
annual
mhm.
community wide
Yeah,
in Tennessee. Okay.
it starts in Summertown and it goes to another little town. It's I want to say, 20, 30 miles long, and they'll just have people set up yard sales and stuff.
Wow.
There's a lot of those around, and that's kind of what this 101 yard sale is. It's just everybody on Highway 101 now have this sale. So, but do you have any more stories, or is that all you have? Or
Well, as far as anything on that scale, I feel like I'd be, trying to live up to that high, and I'd kind of disappoint everybody. Like,
oh, did
oh,
you? I know what I was going to ask you. Did you sell the other two pair of waders, or any of the waders, or did you sell anything out of it, or you just happy to get something that good of a deal and you keeping it all?
I'm happy to have a great deal. However, I'm only one man. I can definitely use all the decoys. I can use
Mhm.
all the shells. I can only use one pair of later you know, unless I grow four extra legs. So I am going to be selling the other two pairs of waders. I think, how much money I put in there. I think $65 a pair would probably be.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, exactly. No, I
Mhm,
think I'd reasonably price it because of the deal I got, and I'd
yeah,
still come out fine.
mhm. And that'll be good because don't have too many more months before duck season starts. So you can get them on now and hopefully have them sold before the season starts.
Right, exactly. It's prime time for something like that to be sold.
And if you got any more of them turkey loads, I might try to buy some of them from you.
We can get you the family discount.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, man, I really enjoyed this. This was real fun, and it was nice seeing you again through Zoom and talking to you. You need to come to the house, fire up the grill and have a few cold ones.
Oh, you don't have to tell me twice. Goodness. Start talking
All
about that. You'll bring out my inner Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I
But yeah,
got
I'll definitely be around more often now that my class load is easier now and I'm getting a little bit more freedom back. I'll definitely be seeing more of y'all in person.
excellent, excellent. So you're a senior. You gonna graduate like May or something like that, or it's gonna be sooner
I will be graduating in the summer.
this summer?
So summer of 2022, I will be graduating.
Excellent, excellent. All right, man. Well, with that, I appreciate you coming on, and
Thank you for having me.
with that, we are out.